fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wdfw when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wdfw when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine in the Northwest wild.
Hey guys, good evening and welcome to Fish Hunt Northwest. Dwayne England coming to you live from, well, Green River, Wyoming, which is about 30 minutes from the buckboard launch here at Flaming Gorge Reservoir. Now, I say live, but actually this is a late Wednesday afternoon, early evening, trying to get a show put together for you for this evening here that you're watching, Thursday night. So we are on the road for the next several days in an attempt to fish Flaming Gorge. Now today was a bit of a compromise. I'll get into that in a little bit. The weather outlook for the remainder of our time looks fantastic, this day being an anomaly of its own, to say the least. So before we get too far into it, I want to remind everybody that Fish Hunt Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located back home in Puyallup, Washington, and of course our very good friends out there at Defiance Marine, manufacturers of the Ally, the Arima, and the Defiance series of boats. Check out everything that you need with your boat or current boat or maintenance and or looking for that new purchase with our good buddies over there at Defiance Marine. Okay, with that, yeah, we are here in an attempt to do a lot of fishing on the road over the next couple weeks, and so this week's show here on the 18th and next week's show will be a culmination of things we are out doing. All right, so as we progress through tonight, we have a really nice recap of Tommy and I out on the water, Puget Sound here just this last week on our shrimp opener, actually on the 11th, last Thursday, before we did the show, we got out and did our shrimping. I'm gonna bring you that video tonight. We still have plenty of shrimp opportunity available that you'll want to take advantage of here in the near future. So I'm going to show you that video with some insight, hopefully help you make some adjustments, and you will too find success out on the waters on the shrimp grounds. Also along with that, salmon season opens here very soon, June 20th, which I'll get into a few particulars on that as well. Tommy did a real nice job before we hit the road with a great how-to segment out of the bait lab, plug fishing for salmon, plug fishing for Chinook ideally. He kind of walks you through some options and really gets you set up if you haven't utilized plugs in Puget Sound for salmon fishing or the ocean. As these ocean areas open up on the 20th, he's going to get you dialed in so that you are ready for that opener. So before we get too far into that, there are some things going on throughout the Northwest and beyond, more specifically to a number of our ocean areas that, you know, the emails just keep coming in. I want to remind you guys, if you do not subscribe to Wdfw emails, that's real easy to do. And of course, if you're an avid fisherman or on the water quite often, or even for hunting, the rule changes, the regulations, the constant communications, the things that come from Wdfw, it's very simple to get on the email list and get this information directly to you. So, but I know a lot of you don't get it, and it sneaks up on you, so I want to try to review a few things before we get too far along. Marine Area 4 is slated for some openings coming here, along with salmon fishing. June 20th, Marine Area 4, you're going to be able to harvest mussels, clams, oysters, and crabbing will open. Check your regulations for the particulars in the exact areas and zones that you may crab, but it is going to open up. And one thing we need to remember is that the macaw tribal access areas are going to remain closed. So any harvesting activity, whether it's shellfish or fishing, or as we get later into the summer when halibut opens up, and I'll get into that here in a little bit, our access to fish Nia Bay area and Area 4 has to come from different areas. So do not rely on the Macaw Reservation boat ramps to be open. You need to launch your boat elsewhere and gain access to those opportunities that will be opening soon. Speaking of halibut, I'm going to walk through that right now. We posted that up on our Facebook page where Tommy and I try week in and week out to keep this information relevant. You guys can always tune in there or check us out there on our Facebook page to find that relevant information and updates. A lot of it, again, from Wdfw, but as it pertains to halibut, and this is one that we've been waiting to hear, and they finally unveiled here recently that, in fact, August 6th, now it's a little ways away, but August 6th, we are going to finally get our halibut openers. The North Coast, areas 3 and 4, are going to be open for 3 days per week, Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, and that is going to go through into September, about September 30th, and/or until the quota is reached. Okay, so that's areas 3 and 4. Areas 1 and 2, your South Coast, is going to open August 6th as well, and up until August 13th you have those 3-day options. Up until August 13th, then it switches to simply Thursdays and Saturdays, more of a normal type fishery, 2 days per week as we're accustomed to. And again, that Thursday Saturday cycle of days that you're accessible in the water for halibut will go until September 30th and/or until the quota is reached. Okay, so we do have halibut openers to look forward to, and they're a little bit down the road here, more towards the latter part of summer, you know, get into that August time, but we are going to finally see our halibut time. Yes, it's going to compete with summertime salmon opportunities. Yes, it's going to compete definitely with folks hitting the tuna grounds. You're just going to have to pick your days and figure out which one you want to go do. Speaking of ocean salmon, I kind of mentioned it. All 4 areas open June 20th for salmon. Check your regulations. Some of them vary just a little bit. There are pretty narrow margins or quotas for this season based on preseason forecasts and returns for both our Chinook and our coho fisheries are greatly diminished this year. So your coho opportunities probably a little better in some areas of Puget Sound, more so than the ocean fisheries, but some of our Chinook fisheries don't look too bad. But again, salmon's opening in all 4 ocean areas June 20th. Area 5, they actually came out with a reminder as we have halibut that will eventually be open, but lingcod, allowable seaward of 120 foot depth, is you're allowed to go after lingcod seaward of 120 foot depth on halibut days. Okay, so lingcod will remain open, but you cannot fish for deep water lings or water in excess of 120 feet unless it coincides with a halibut day. That's a reminder out of Area 5 that they want to make sure you're well aware of. And for all you who are skilled at finding and locating your shrimp in Area 6, kind of a little bonus, there is plenty of shrimp out there apparently with recent harvest days and the numbers of shrimp that folks are producing and the test fisheries Wdfw recently did. You're going to increase your retention limit on your shrimp from 80 to 120 per person, and that will go through the already recognized dates that are slated for the Area 6 shrimp harvest opportunities. So excluding the Discovery Bay Shrimp District, okay? Area 6, excluding the Discovery Bay Shrimp District. Other than that, your limits go from 80 per person on your boat to 120, which is pretty fantastic. So the shrimping there has been outstanding so far this year. Speaking of which, so we do have a number of days still coming up with opportunity for shrimping. So we are going to roll out the shrimp video here for you in a little bit. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Tommy's going to also roll into that plug fishing for salmon in the oceans. So about today, we landed here in Green River the other night, and the weather, driving all the way from Washington, the full 1,000 or so miles, nothing but pouring rain and wind the entire way. So by the time I got here, we were ready to fish, and the anticipation was to get out this morning and hit Flaming Gorge. Got up this morning, wind was blowing about 20-25, gusts of 30, and we headed on up to the gorge. Again, it's only 30 minutes from here, and kind of waited it out for a while. It did not settle down. It actually dropped in temperatures. This storm cell came pushing through. We headed back into town to kind of wait it out. As we were heading back into town, it actually dropped. When we left, it was 48 degrees. When we came back over the hill, dropping back down into town, it was 32 degrees and snowing. So no, Tommy, it wasn't the snow that kept us off the water. It was the wind. The gorge is nothing to mess around with. You got to actually be mindful of the weather out there. It's such a large body of water. You don't want to take chances. So we did get a weather window break, kind of, you know, a little latter part of the morning there. We made the jaunt 30 minutes back up the highway, got to the gorge. Jordan and I went out, yes, the beard, and we hit the water. We were only able to fish for about an hour and a half, and sure enough, the wind came back in as prescribed right about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and we had pretty monstrous whitecaps rolling in, knocking us around, and pretty much every boat on the gorge in that vicinity was heading in for the boat ramp at about the same time. So a large contingent of the Max crew, Max Lure crew is here. Number of boats that they have out there. A number of their guys fish this place not only exclusively but quite often, and they do very well. When those guys are heading in, it's probably a good thing to pick up on and stow your gear and head on in and get off of that body of water when the wind picks up as much as it did. So we did manage to catch a handful of trout and a few smaller kokanees. We threw everything back. We're really looking forward to getting into those big kokanee, which starts tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, the 18th, and we're going to fish it for a few days here on the Flaming Gorge. So looking forward to this wind dying down later this evening. Tomorrow and Friday for certain, the mornings just look flat calm with a little bit of breeze, just enough to put a little chop on the water, and we're anticipating doing very well out there at the gorge. Plenty of pictures, lots of how-to videos and things coming in the next few weeks to show you guys exactly how to dissect the gorge and be successful if you too choose to drag your boat somewhere between 500 and 1,000 miles and come and finally take this on at some point in your life. Okay, with that, we're going to jump out for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and spool up that Puget Sound shrimp video that we did from last week when we were harvesting Puget Sound Spot Prawn out of Area 10. So we'll do that. We'll jump out for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We come back, Spot Prawn with the one and only Tommy Donlin and myself, Puget Sound, and we'll do that when we come back right here on FHN.
Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
FHN on the water. Dwayne and I are shrimping Puget Sound today, and we are out here and we are staring at the sonar. We've got just massive clouds of shrimp showing up on the sonar. We got about 25 minutes before the gun goes off. We're gonna have another derby style shotgun opener today on Puget Sound with a whopping 4 hours of shrimping, so we got to be on our A game. We want to get all the pots dropped, all 4 pots dropped, definitely in under 5 minutes. We've got all the bait already rigged. There's another cloud right there. Man, we've got a lot of shrimp underneath the boat right here. What I like to do is we're just cruising around, and you want to just stare at your sonar. I've got 2 Ray Marine Axiom Pros here, and I am looking for those clouds of shrimp on the bottom. And as you drive over them, you want to mark them with your GPS and kind of build a set of coordinates so you can figure out what depth they are, where the biggest masses are. And then when the clock does strike 7, you're sitting right on top. You drop a pot, and you know that pot's going right into a massive cloud of shrimp. You load up the shrimp motel. An hour later, you pull the pot, and the goal is obviously, you know, to limit in a set if we can. We've got 7 people on the boat today. We'll see if we can do that. But we've got the best bait, and we're in a really good spot. There's a lot of shrimp on the screen.
What do you think, Tommy?
It's the best.
What do you see?
We're in the right spot.
Huh?
Look at this massive layer of shrimp. I can. Oh.
Sugar!
Yeah, that's right in. That's a good spot right there. Left hand.
Yep.
right, we just got done setting. Took us about 5 minutes a pot. There's probably about 50 boats in this area, and the place that we're shrimping, it's a really steep drop off, and the shrimp seem to be holding in that like 220 to 260 depth, and they're not above it and they're not below it. And so you've got a band this wide, and you've got all these boats out here. Every boat's got 4 pots, and it's like by the time you get to your 3rd pot or 4th pot, it's a slalom course, and you're trying to thread the needle to actually get that pot on the shrimp where the shrimp are, without tangling somebody else's line. And so this is why it's important. We've actually got a couple shots out today on our rope that are poly rope. And it's important to remember that if you're going to use poly rope, you've got to have weight. So I think each one of these has, I think one has 2 1-pounders and the other one has 3. There's no way that you can fish this fishery here in the Puget Sound without some way to get your line weighted down. So that's absolutely key.
Oh, you lost! I said we had a rider!
Oh no, that was a piece of kelp. You're good, you're good, you're good. Okay. Alright. Man, that was a good pull.
Let me get this jelly off. Watch.
Nice work.
Real good.
Ready?
Ready? Yeah. Alright.
He tried to get away. There's a rider. He tried to get out. He tried to get out. Don't let these guys get out of here.
That one was the big one over there.
Yeah. That one was mine. That was mine. Underneath?
Yep. Got it?
Oh boy! Oh boy! Nice job, Bretto.
You're welcome. Here it is. I'm gonna switch it over this way. There you go, sir. You got that one?
Yep.
Okay, ready? Oh, what are you hiding for? You're not gonna get away.
There we go. I'm gonna just back up here, and then we're gonna drop that right in the same spot.
Okay. Here.
Nice job, Brett.
All right, we've done our first pull, 4 pots. We've got them in the tank right now. We know we're well under our 7-person limit, and now we're gonna start deheading them and kind of count them out into 80 per. So we'll basically come down, scoop some up, throw it in the bucket. Oh, don't let him get away! Don't let him get away!
Not going anywhere.
And then what we'll do is we'll just pull from this bucket and start popping their heads and bagging them. Look at that, please. Those are great.
Yeah, if you get a little one, throw it back.
Yeah, we'll do.
Are we putting heads overboard or are we saving them?
Heads are overboard.
That's enough for a bit.
Unless you want them. If you want the heads for, soup or broth or whatnot, we'll start there.
Ready?
Okay. We'll bag next. Right now, we're just going to throw them into another bucket.
Right here.
So we can put this
bucket.
Yeah, we can put this other bucket up here and
okay.
to work.
Okay.
And I'm just going to be paying attention to the buoys because we're still in the middle of them.
Yep. If I do this,
Because
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get as much meat out of this thing as possible. So I squeeze high on the head and kind of push it out, and it's gonna get a little dirty. You take these legs off, the little legs. Take those legs off, and then just throw the meat in the bucket, right? You'll kind of get the hang of it. But I try to, like, I pinch, not necessarily in the middle, but up from the joint for sure, just so that I don't accidentally pinch any meat off. Now, when you do this, you get into a habit of like pinch and throw, pinch and throw, pinch and throw. You got to remember what hand you're pinching with and which hand you're throwing with, okay? Because you don't want to throw a tail overboard. All right, we've got our limits out here, so we're rail dumping the last couple pots so that these shrimp can hopefully make it until our next opener. There you go, boys and girls. Hey, whoa, hey.
Up to your left, sir.
I don't know why, your grunnins are just the wrong color here. Did you notice that?
Well,
that's, you have to get an application first.
I got to fill out the application. Yeah. There's a 2-week quarantine. Yeah. You got to wait through the quarantine process.
On the tuna grounds.
And then I might finally see the tuna grounds.
There we go.
Tuna grounds are on the ocean, Tommy. We are out here on Puget Sound today. Weather's turning a little interesting.
Misty.
Yeah, started out beautiful morning. We got some rain, a little wind today, but it did not keep the shrimp from landing in the
Absolutely not.
Huh?
No. 4 hours, quick work. We ended up rail dumping the last couple pots.
Yeah.
It's all about having good bait and being on top of the shrimp with your sonar.
The bait we showed a couple weeks ago, you did your fantastic presentation on how to put that bait together, also using the Pautzke's crab and shrimp fuel to disperse that scent trail out. Obviously it works. We had a lot of pots around us, a lot of boats around us, and folks actually saw us filming this how-to video, and they came over next to us and said, "Are you guys filming a how-to?" We're like, "Tune in a couple weeks from now, you're gonna be able to see it." So successful morning. Bait makes the difference. Good electronics. We saw the shrimp on the bottom. Big clouds of shrimp.
Yeah, you got to mark them.
Dropped the pots, and we actually had our limits out of 5 or 6 sets. We were done. Had to dump a bunch of shrimp, so it's been a good morning out here. Pay attention to everything we did here. You guys will find success if you follow our lead. Hopefully you have as good a morning as we did.
I know. I can't wait to put these on the grill.
It's gonna be absolutely.
You're gonna give me your limit, right?
Well, that's what I'm a giver.
Well, the boat needs a limit too, right?
This is the boat limit. Tommy, this is the boat limit.
The boat limit?
Yeah. So, all right, we're out of here. We will, we'll see you guys back in studio real soon. A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima Boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard.
With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that spot prawn outing for myself and Mr. Donlin. It was a great morning. Yeah, the weather got a little precarious there, but as I said, the shrimp were still biting, and we actually had a very successful morning getting our 7 limits in short order. To kind of recap that again, there are those that are on the team of, hey, you got to count every pot coming over the rail. Not necessarily true. You can read the regulations. There's nothing in there that stipulates you absolutely have to count every shrimp coming on board. The main emphasis here is that we never, and you should never, we never exceeded our personal limit, our overall limit, which would have been 7 full limits of 80, so 560 shrimp. We never exceeded our carrying limit at any time on board. So we chose to keep them alive, and then after we set our next string, go ahead and sort them, clean them, and take count and make sure that we're putting 80 per bag is the allotment, you know, per person. So there's a couple different ways to do it. You can count every shrimp coming on board if that's what you want to do. Now, if you're doing maybe 1 or 2 pots, by all means count your shrimp so you don't exceed your limit. But when you have 7 or 9 limits to get, as some folks did on that day, you know, just kind of figure out exactly how many you got on board and work your program. Again, I want you to go back, if you haven't, and check out the bait curing or bait preparation video Tommy did a couple weeks ago, getting you ready for shrimp season. It's a very insightful bit of information, utilizing also the Pautzke's crab and shrimp fuel as disbursement scent going down current to draw those shrimp in. And you know, for the most part, that bait worked very well. There were other folks around us, as you could see. Some of them were not doing so well. There were clouds of shrimp available to harvest, and if you weren't getting shrimp into your pot, it had to be nothing other than perhaps the bait you were putting out wasn't working or producing for you. So check out that video that Tommy did about the creation of his bait, and give that a go if your bait that you're currently using is not working. All right, enough on that. We'll jump out for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to spool up the how-to from the bait lab that Tommy did this last week. It's all in an effort to get you guys ready for this June 20th opener. If you fish plugs and are not real successful, hopefully you pick up on a few things that Tommy talks about in this how-to segment. And or if you've never fished plugs, this will open your eyes on a number of things you can do to go decide on which plugs you need to purchase, how to rig them, and ultimately, for success, how to fish them. So don't go anywhere. Stick here through the break. We come back. You're going to be in the bait lab with Tommy, plug fishing for salmon out in the ocean. We come back right here on FHN.
Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam, flotation filled, and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Welcome back to FHN. We're back in the bait lab, brought to you by Max Lure. I'm Tommy Donlin. We are here to talk about trolling plugs for salmon. Okay, we've got the ocean salmon season about to kick off June 20th. This is a very pertinent subject. It's coming up. This is probably one of my favorite ways to fish because you don't have to use a flasher. It's a direct connection to that king. And you got to see the size of the hooks we use, because once you hook them with these, you will not lose these fish. You can stack lots of different plugs on a single downrigger, and you're going to be fishing and not even have to worry about them tangling. So that's the beauty of it. So if we go down to the table, you're going to see a variety of plugs down here. Now, you're going to see Tomic plugs, different colors, different sizes. And the way I like to look at this is in terms of size is what is the average size of the bait that the fish is eating? What are the size of the fish in the area? And am I really trying, you know, we've had some years where, let's face it, you get a lot of coho in the area. And if you're like me, you are intentionally trying to catch kings only, okay? The Chinook salmon. And so you are trying to up the size of your lure to avoid those smaller fish. And in recent years, we've had this influx of black cod all over the place. And so to avoid those guys, we've kind of upped our game a little bit, and we've gone to, you'll see here a couple of the 7-inch plugs. This is Tomic Color 603, and this is the 700G. Now, if you look at Tomic lures, you've got a whole variety and plethora of different color options to look from, and the catalog is very extensive, okay? You have to have a decoder ring and maybe a mechanical engineering degree to understand the different colors and how they come up with them, but check them out, look them online, a lot of different great colors. Okay, now if you look here, and we just talk colors in general, some of my absolute favorites are the 603, which is this guy right here. And you'll see on any given one of these plugs, they're gonna have the code right on the lip of the plug. Okay, so the 603 is a red lip. 602 is gonna have a pink lip. Okay, you're also going to notice a slight difference in these plugs in terms of hue. You've got a silver hue or pearl hue and then more of a gold hue. So they have a different hue color as well. Now the 600 series glows. Whereas if you wanted something similar but you didn't want it to glow, you've also got basically the same color, which is a 156 without the glow. It's a very pearl white plug, and then you've got kind of a rainbow cross hatching over the top. You know, year after year after year, these plugs and these colors have taken more kings than probably any other color. But I'm also a fan of the 500, which is this guy right here. Absolute killer. We've caught a lot of fish on that color. You know, one thing in common that you're going to see is that I've got a lot of glows, I've got a lot of pearl. When you're ocean salmon fishing, you can't go wrong with that. Another favorite, tried and true by the salmon fishing population, is the 530G, which you're going to see in these colors over here. This is your 6-inch plug, and this is your 5-inch plug. You know, if you're coming into an area and you're not sure what the fish are eating, I would say start with your 5-inch. It's kind of your average size. It's not too big, it's not too small. You're talking winter blackmouth, you're going to drop down to a 4-inch size, which is more like these guys right here. And then as you determine what those fish are on, if they're on big herring, you definitely want to jump up to the 6-inch. And if they're on maybe sardines or just kind of that horse herring or purple label herring, you've got your 7-inch size here. You know, the beautiful thing about fishing Canada, there's a big difference between, you know, the regulations in salmon fishing between Canada and the state of Washington. So in Canada, as an angler, you can run as many rods as you want to run, okay? You can run as many hooks as you want to run on a single lure, but you can't run a single rig with like multiple lures, okay? And that really comes into play when you're like halibut or lingcod fishing. You cannot run a double rig. That is illegal in Canada. But as far as salmon fishing goes, it's one lure per rod. So how many of these can you stack on a rigger? I would say effectively you could probably stack 3 and have it be manageable. If you feel you can stack more, you're more than welcome to stack more on a single rigger. And they are easy to stack, okay? So if you think about downrigger management in terms of, hey, I'm out there, there's a lot of fish in the area. The thing is, as soon as you put that first plug on the downrigger, the very first one, which is on that downrigger ball, if there's coho in the area, they're gonna attack that plug right on the surface, just like that. So what I like to do is, if you look down here, I like to run that 7-inch on the bottom, okay? Now, every single one of these plugs is gonna get run about 50 to 60 feet back. And this will be on the bottom, and then I'll jump up to a 6-inch and maybe have a 5-inch on top, or I'll go 7-inch, 5-inch, 5-inch. That way, if, you know, I'm waiting for that large Chinook salmon to hit the 7-inch, that one's gonna stay swimming no matter what. I'm gonna have a less likelihood of attack by coho, and then I'm getting hit more frequently by those, I would say, mid-teen or low 20 style Chinook on the banks. or offshore at some of the places like Blue Dot or the shark fin, you know, these are going to be typically your more productive for your average size Chinook. I don't have to bring the rigger all the way to the bottom, to the downrigger ball to reclip in the large plug. So that's just kind of some thoughts about, you know, how I rig these in terms of which ones you set on the rigger. Okay, now in terms of, you know, how far back on the rigger, you know, it's 50 to 60 and typically about 20 feet distance vertically between the bottom plug and then the next plug up. Okay, you want to have a little bit of distance there, but not too much, and you want to cover a swath of water. So if you got 3 plugs that are 20 feet apart, you're effectively covering, somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 feet there in those 2 plugs. But salmon have some vision capability, so you could argue maybe that's about 60 feet. Then you've got another rigger, which you can put another 3 plugs, and you can run that at a completely different depth. So when you think about it, you can really cover about 120 feet of water column by fishing these style of salmon plugs. They're really effective. Okay, let's talk about the rigging a little bit, and let's look at some of the details of these plugs and how they're designed. Now, when you look at these plugs, and it's going to be really hard to see for you folks out there, but the way they fabricate these plugs, there is a front half of the plug and there is a rear half of the plug. Okay, and there is a definite top dead center line of this plug in the front and in the back. Now, when they join these, sometimes they are not perfect. So you will have the top dead center be offset to the left or the port side of the plug on the rear portion of the plug. On the front side of the plug, you will see that top dead center line rotated just a little bit to the right or the starboard. Okay, now this is where your personal preference comes into play. It's totally up to you. You can decide that, hey, I want to pick the plugs that are perfectly lined up, which is kind of where I am on my side of the house. I kind of believe that they lined them up on purpose. They designed a plug that was designed to run a certain way. Some people would argue that, hey, when you get that misalignment between the front and aft half of the plugs, you're going to get a little wobble or a little bit different kick than you would normally see. I'm just going off my experience in terms of which ones for me get bit, and I look for those ones that are aligned and they work really well, but it's totally up to you. There's no shame in either game. Okay, now when you look down here again at these Tomic plugs, you're going to see a bar that runs totally through the plug. Okay, that's a solid bar. And the thing is, this one is not connected, this one is fully connected. People will ask the question, well, hey, do I pull the pin, which like you'll see in this plug here, where that line can slide through the plug, okay? Or, and on a side note, maybe I said this a little bit backwards, but this top hole, okay, is the one where that bar goes completely through. The one on the bottom of the plug does not go the full distance through. Okay, keep that in mind when you're talking about which line to run through, which hole to run the line through, okay, on the plug. And so, you know, I get all the question a lot is hey, how do I know, you know, should I pull the pin? Should I not pull the pin? What do you think? Okay. And there's a couple, you know, frames of thought around what you should do when. My thought is, you know, when you start, okay, and you start fishing a plug, you don't know what kind of action it has. You don't know if it's a catcher or a non-catcher. And so I would start with the bar in it, okay, and tie directly to this solid bar and see how it fishes, okay? And if you've got a known plug that produces and you run another new plug against it and you're tying a solid bar and you give it a good college try and you've run it maybe half a dozen trips and it just doesn't produce for you, then I would go ahead and pull the pin. Now, there's another advantage to pulling the pin, and I'll show you here. And that is that when the salmon gets this beautiful mustad 95-170 in the corner of his or her mouth, this line is allowed to slide through the plug, which basically means that that fish is not going to be able to use this plug as leverage to get this hook out of the corner of their mouth. So there's a definite functional advantage to being able to run the line through the plug. The other advantage is that you'll see these beads on this plug. These beads allow me to place this plug a little further aft allow me to place this hook a little bit further aft on this plug, which if you get a fish that is short striking the plug, you're more likely to hook them. Okay. Whereas you don't have that luxury here with a solid tie presentation. But again, in my book, the number one priority is to catch the fish. What is the number one thing that's going to cause that king salmon to strike the plug? Okay, and that's the action on the plug, totally. That is probably my number one, above color, above anything else, above size, above how you rig it, hook placement, etc. Is it a swimmer? Okay, does it perform? And then you kind of go down the list with everything else. Okay, these are the hooks. This is the 95 170 from Mustad. Don't forget to pinch the barbs when you go and put them on the plug. And I would say that, you know, if you're worried about how heavy these hooks are, by the way, the reason that I love these hooks is if you look at the depth of the hook and kind of the throat of the hook, I'm telling you, once you hook these fish with that hook, unless you're not on the rod or you're not keeping the line tight, if you're playing that fish actively, you're going to catch that fish if it's a good hook. You may pull it out if you like barely got a little piece of his mouth, but typically once this hook is in, you're going to catch that fish. That's why I love this hook. But, you know, some folks don't like it because it's a little bit heavier hook. Now, what I would offer to you is there's no reason, there's no shame in going to a 2-hook rig, like maybe a, Gamakatsu or Owner SSW type setup with 2 hooks back here, more of something that you would use in a hoochie rig, or in like a, cut plug or whole herring rig. That's fine. If you want to do that, you feel your plug swims better with a lighter setup back here, no problem. But in my book, these hooks are going to win all day long. Okay. One of the other things that I really want to mention is scent. Okay. So we've got a series of different fire gels up here. Really, anchovy, herring, salmon are my top 3. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to take this scent, and by the way, this stuff absolutely smells, in the fish's eye, is beautiful. Under my nose, it's really stinky. So I'm not going to take it out and put it on my finger right now, but you're going to apply it to the lip of this plug. Okay, go ahead and put it on there. This stuff really adheres to the plug. And so you want to put it on the face of that plug, okay? And that's going to last, honestly, you're going to see about an hour or more of use out of that one application. You don't have to get crazy with it. Don't put so much on the face of the plug that it changes the behavior of the diving. Don't fill in this radius or this angle on the plug. Just apply a thin layer to the face. When you bring it up, reapply. But you'll be able to tell right away if it's still on there or if it's not. Okay, so I think we've covered how to fish plugs for salmon. Okay, if you got any questions, make sure you hit us up at FHN. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
All right, welcome back to our makeshift studio, sitting here in the back of the boat, just waiting to get back out there on the water. This wind is going to die down. We are going fishing for the next several days out there in Flaming Gorge, and our intention is to bring you plenty of insightful information on the water how-tos, rigging. We're going to cover troll speeds, depths, scents, bait, all those things that kind of put it all together to be successful out here in Flaming Gorge. I hope to talk to a few folks that are local around here on exactly what they do to find success. It's a large body of water, but the kokanee out there are trophy, and the rainbows and the cutthroat and a number of other, we can go for Mackinac. We have some options, and the limits are pretty lucrative if you choose to keep your trout and other species as well. So we are here in Wyoming. This weather is going to die down. We're going to get out there on the water, and looking forward to bringing you all some insightful information over the next couple weeks on Flaming Gorge and a handful of other spots we're going to be fishing along the way over this next week or so. So thanks for tuning in this evening, albeit a very short, compact show. As it is on the road, at least we are trying to bring you something each and every week, whether we're in studio or on the road in our travels. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be in touch. Make sure you visit us on our Facebook page and give us a like and follow our content week in and week out. Jump over to our YouTube channel, if you would please, and hit the subscribe button. You will get notified every time we post up new information there, whether it's a how-to, one of our activities out on the water in the woods, some of our, obviously not some of, all of our cooking recipes from Chef. We have a lot of information we post there, as well as on our Facebook page. So you can follow us either or. Check us out on Instagram. Go give us a follow on Instagram and keep up with what we post on over there. Lots going on here at Fish Hunt Northwest, but it's all because of you folks tuning in and week out and being part of our show and being part of our communication that we put out via our social media that keeps this thing going. So appreciate you being here. Again, we'll be checking in periodically throughout the week. Have a great week. Get out on the water. Be safe. Post your pictures and your information to our Facebook page. Be interactive with us so we can with you. Have a great week. We'll see you guys soon.